Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to Vidane TV and the Sim Racing Unleashed crew back on a Sunday evening, and we are at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 130 laps to run with the Cup cars, and Tim Terry, Paul Strickland Jr. here along for the ride. And Paul, not necessarily the dynamic racetrack that we had a couple of years ago, but with the new build, the groove is wider. We're going to see some drivers moving around and try to chase some lanes here with this Cup car. I'm excited for 130 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Hot Atlanta seems to be the hot commodity here in racing and sim racing, real racing, all across the racing world this week. Lots of different leagues running this track here in NASCAR. Had some pretty fantastic races and a pretty good finish to today's Cup race, but not on the docket anymore. Now we're going to be taking a look at these Sim Racing Unleashed drivers, and we're waiting for the timing and scoring to kind of catch up there going through. You can see the drivers that are entered in this race. Once we go green and cross that start-finish line, we'll be able to see who starts where and take you through the field there. But really excited. We got Atlanta here tonight, Pocono Pocono next week. We're off for the Easter Sunday on the 4th, and we got 4 races to close out the season here with Sim Racing Unleashed to try and crown a champion.
As you can see, the field getting ready to roll off. Some familiar names if you're used to joining us on Sunday evening. Hunter Hayward and Steven Stempnian on the front row, and those two drivers, Paul, no stranger to victory lane and racing up front. 32 strong, getting ready to take the green as the iRacing sedan pulls off with the field.
Just kind of watching the field drive by here from the flag stand, and really excited to see. We've seen many fast drivers in this league over the past couple of weeks, past couple of months, that these drivers have signed on here with Vidane TV, and really excited to close out here a championship season in about a month's time. Like we made mention, 5 races left here on the schedule, and you can see everybody just kind of warming the tires up, getting closed up to the front of the pack, and we're going to get some green flag racing here at Atlanta. Really good race last week, I believe, at Richmond Speedway. Much cleaner race, very good clean race, only a couple of cautions, and we got to see some entertainment here on Vidane TV, and that's what we're after. We're always trying to get after the entertainment. We want to entertain the masses here at Vidane TV, and I think we're going to be doing just that here tonight, getting ready to take the green flag as these drivers get one more set of turns to try and gather their thoughts, pull their sim belts tight, make sure the wheels locked up on that desk, and make sure the pedals aren't going to slide out from underneath them as we get ready to go green flag racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And I am mistaken when I spoke, Paul. That is the iRacing Mustang that is out in front of the field. The sedan must have been left at Nashville, the last race that we covered here earlier this week. But the pace car is off, and it's left Hunter Hayward in command, and green flag will fly, and we are underway for the first of 130 laps here this evening. Watch this field as they go along. If you saw the Cup race earlier, the real Cup race earlier, you're going to see a little bit of 2 and 3 wide racing on some of these starts, but these guys are going to be able to get single file and extend it out a little bit. But with this new package on iRacing, Paul, they'll be able to race a little bit. Excited for tonight, excited for tomorrow night with Sim 500 with the Trans-Service Cup Series. We're going to see a lot of it, and we saw it with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series on Tuesday, where these drivers have a little bit of a wider groove, that they have a choice where they can move around and play around, but it's the same thing. Cold tires, these drivers are going to have to find a place to race, and right now it's behind Hunter Hayward in the 21.
And the cream always rises to the top here in any, really pretty much any league that we run with these Cup cars here. Hunter Hayward, championship implications, currently running second in the championship points behind Mark Whitley. You can see Mark Whitley up there in the top 5. He was in the top 5. Looks like he's in second. There he is. Right in front of us, the bright green 77 numbers there. The MTX on number 77. He's running in that second position. Not enough points swapping hands there, but between these two drivers, there's 5 wins between them. Braden Caress there, you see in the 91 McDonald's ride. He's currently running 4th in the championship. So these 3 drivers definitely gunning for that championship, and this is a good fast banked racetrack here to try and gain the most points that you possibly can.
I'm still quite new to this league. I think this is the only second race that I've covered with these drivers here with you on Vidane TV, but a lot of fast drivers and competitive drivers in this field. Great battle for position number 5 right now is Steven Stempnian trying to hold off Luke Peters, one of the rookies on the outside. Peters will take that spot away from Stempnian, move him back to position number 6. He started in position number 2. He's under fire from, I believe that might be Lane Doyle in the 5 to put him one more position back. So the 81 car falling quickly here early in this race. We have completed 4 laps. He's falling deeper. And drivers that are moving up, how about Luke Peters? He's going to gain one more spot to the inside of LaFaro and going to pick up position number 4.
Really showing his worth there in that number 50 machine, and he is moving himself into that 4th position. A little bit of a wiggle there trying to get on the inside of the 20 of Luke LaFaro, but he is able to kind of slide up in front of him just a little bit, but elects to kind of jump right back down on that line. And you alluded to it, Tim, lots of different lines here at Atlanta, especially after the new iRacing build where they've got a dynamic surface, a racing surface, where the track actually changes and reacts differently as you drive it differently and as the tires kind of fade off and all sorts of stuff like that. So you'll see guys way down on the bottom. You'll see guys way up by the wall like we saw that last turn there. Luke LaFaro, the number 20, getting right up by that wall, kind of running the old BR line, as it were, back in the sim racing days. Anybody that's been doing this as long as Tim and I have been doing it, you know exactly what we're talking about.
And with this wider groove, you're going to be able to make passes to the inside. You may be able to, if you scrape the wall a little bit, we kind of saw it on Tuesday night with the Coke Series, where if you scrape the wall just a little bit, Paul, you can keep that outside line rolling with a little bit of momentum and be able to maybe not necessarily be the fastest car up there, but be one of those cars that can hold them off. I saw the 50 make a nasty wiggle at a corner number 2, and Peters is still going to maintain position number 4, but the disadvantage, Paul, to riding that outside line depends what kind of run you get at a corner number 2 and corner number 4. If that thing tries to slide out from underneath you, we'll take a look at this 50 car as it comes by this time. And Luke taking a lower line this time through 1 and 2. He's going to come up out of the corner, and thing gets a little bit sideways, but not as bad as it was the last lap by.
Yeah, most definitely. And one of the things that I always liked, I've done the sim racing thing for a long time. I'm not very good at it by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of these racetracks, where there was multiple grooves up high, I'd always run the high line just because it was a shorter distance to the wall when I wrecked.
And if you get into the wall and you kind of get that right side a little bit crinkled, there's not as much damage as it would be if you're, let's say, the guy running the inside line, which is now the 95 car of Michael Yarrow, to the inside Cedric Hunter and the Hello Kitty number 11. That's a beautiful looking paint scheme. To the outside, 88 of Chris Miller. Did the same thing the 50 did about 5 laps ago and almost lost that thing on the outside. That's the disadvantage, Paul, because if you're on the outside and that thing gets lighted to the corner and it goes to the inside, there's a long way to the inside and you're not scrubbing off a whole lot of speed.
You're exactly right, and the Hello Kitty car says hello, 8th place, and he's going to try and dip his nose on the inside of the number 88 there, and that's still one of my favorite paint schemes throughout the Sim Racing Unleashed, guys. That 88, there's something about the way that blue and white, contact there between the 88 and the 11. Doesn't look like we're going to have a caution. They stay green, they stay pointed in the right direction, but that's going to drop a couple of positions there for Cedric in that number 11 machine. He's going to drop back behind the 14th. Looks like the 25 is going to get by as well.
After watching a lot of these races that have happened this week, whether it's the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series or the official series that have been here this week, Paul, the one thing that I found, unless they changed it in the update on Friday, is that this racetrack isn't as apt to throw yellow flags if you have a single car spin and it goes to the infield. We are going to see some cautions, I'm sure, this evening, but that might help things a little bit if we do have a single car spin and it goes into the infield or goes on the apron. We may not necessarily see that caution flag be thrown as much as we would, let's say, at Daytona or Homestead or one of the races that we covered earlier this season. So keep an eye on that. I'm not sure if they change that in the new build or not, or the new update per se in the last couple of days, but there's a 95 on your screen of Michael Yarrow. In front of him, we've got a battle between Stempian, the 20 car of LaFaro, and the 50 of Peters. That's the battle for 4th, and they've been going at it for a couple laps. It looks like Lane Doyle is about to be a part of this. So then 81 lost a few positions off the start, fell to about position number 8. Looks like he's found something. I wouldn't think he would save tires in the first 10 laps of this one, but maybe it's those guys like the 50 who gets up into the wall at a corner number 2. Maybe they used up a little bit more than they wanted to.
And Stempian doing a great job running a part-time schedule, and the number 81 only has 4 starts of the 9 races so far. Check that, of the 8 races so far. And I have to correct myself, it was Darlington last week, not Richmond. So a great throwback weekend last Sunday night. And you can see the 81 just doing the best he can here, running fourth position, trying to kind of close up on a podium finish here. Not really battling for a championship per se, but definitely trying to get all he can, trying to get all the wins that he can and all the good finishes. Maybe it'll kind of translate into something a little bit more full-time next season.
And a beautiful looking number 81 car that he does have there of Stempney, and you can see the Budweiser red kind of glowing off that race car. So whoever painted up that rig is did a good job on it as he tries to move that thing a little bit closer towards the front of the field, picks up a little bit of time on your leaders up in front. And we haven't been paying a whole lot of attention up in front, but we had a lead change. Mark Whitley is at the top of the board now. Hunter Hayward back to position number 2 and kind of escaped the corner of our eye, Paul, because we were watching the battles just behind them, but Whitley has been able to take the advantage, and he's holding court here this time by 15 laps completed.
And that's exactly what Mark needs to do to hold on to his championship lead. He's currently got 11 points over Hunter Hayward, who's running right behind him. And you can see he's got 13 bonus points throughout the season compared to Hunter Hayward's 9. But Hunter has 3 wins compared to Mark Whitley's 2. So it's a lot of give and take, a lot of back and forth. 8 starts here throughout the 8 races of the season. Mark Whitley's got a top 10 in every single one of them. And Hunter Hayward has 7 top 10s. So pretty tight battle here for the championship. You can check out all the stats over at SimRacingUnleashed.com, and lots of cool stats. We get the championship battle, and it's pretty much the same as the race battle right now. Mark Whitley out front by a couple of car lengths over Hunter Hayward in that number 21 ride.
Looking through the field, so far everybody clean and green. Robert Scheiswick currently 4 laps down in 32nd. We had 1 car not start, Aaron Bradford. Everybody else, the 31 other drivers, remain on the racetrack. Down the lead lap, there is the 6 car, Scheiswick, that is currently 4 laps in behind. The good news is, Paul, that if we were to get a caution flag, there would be a free pass coming to him. But right now, this thing looks pretty green.
Yeah, just taking a look, a couple of drivers in the back there. You can see the 05 of Terry Duguay, a rookie this season. Not quite ready to get lapped. He's still got a little bit of distance between he and the leaders, so that's good news for the number 6 of Robert Cheswick, like you made mention, who has 4 laps to make up throughout the race here tonight. But 32 drivers still on track here, Tim, and like you said, we're still clean and green.
Up in front, it looks like 1 car down to the apron, but no issue. We stay green. The 77 of Whitley comes by to complete lap number 18 on the racetrack, and really nothing much has changed, but I think we're about to have a battle for position number 3 because Braden Caress is going to be under fire from Stempney, and he's on the march. The McDonald's number 91 about to be under fire from the Budweiser 81. That sounds like a great combination right about now as they race down the back straightaway looking for corner number 3, and the 81 is on the move.
Oh, there is no better combination than a great big, fresh Big Mac and a nice cold Budweiser. And we're seeing that happen right here, the 91, Braden Caress. He's running that high line, and we're seeing the 81 kind of search behind him just a little bit, trying to find a little bit of clean air, maybe see where the 91's going to try and slip up. You can see he shoots all the way down, the 81 of Steven Stepien, all the way down to that apron. And we saw just how strong that 81 car was when he was in a 4 or 5 car battle. There you can see 3 of the cars behind him. He was able to pull away from that crowd and now move his way up and start attacking here on a podium finish. So getting searching down low in the 91 of Braden Caress, but not quite there just yet. And you can see he's going to try and take the front stretch, just kind of fall in behind there, get into his tire track, suck up a little bit of draft, and try it again in turn number 1.
And he's got plenty of laps to get this thing done, 130 laps. I think these guys can go on the outer reaches of about 65 laps on fuel as long as they are going the 1X wear on the fuel and the tires. So realistically, if you stretch it the full distance and we don't have a yellow flag, you're going to pit about halfway, and that's stretching the outer limits. I think 65, 66-ish, I think, is the most you're going to get on a tank. You may be able to save a little bit more, but not without a yellow flag to make it work, or at least help it out just a little bit. So these drivers here are the battle for position number 3 with Caress and Stempien. I don't think they're saving a whole lot right now, and I think Caress, if there's anything, Caress got out there and started in 3rd, currently running 3rd, had an advantage per se of just kind of riding. I think he's kind of in a cruise control mode right now. Stempien fell back, started working his way back up, and kind of got to the 91, but hasn't been able to really get to him per se. Was able to try kind of look underneath, but not make that pass. So keep an eye on that battle, and keep an eye on this one here. The 95 is coming to the front too.
Yeah, the Reds Apple the Wicked Apple he's side by side with the Tide Ride there. The 5 of Lane Doyle. Lane dropping back. We got a car down in the apron, but looks like he's going to gather that back up. And the battle side by side kind of faded out just a little bit. 95 giving the advantage. There you can see Lane Doyle, number 5 Tide Ride, started 8th, currently running in the 6th position. Just kind of holding on right now. Nothing too crazy in front, nothing too crazy behind. There you can see right behind him another rookie in the class. It's a cool paint scheme. Kind of brings out the electricity in the field just a bit. Luke Lafaro, a rookie here this season, in the 7th position, and behind here almost had a side-by-side battle for that 8th position here between Stephen Leffler and Braden Hartwell.
Yeah, they continue to do battle there as Leffler trying to move a little bit closer towards the front of the field. That is the battle for 8th and 9th, respectively. And, when you look through the field, there's a couple of close battles throughout, but for the most part, I think these guys have found a place to race. I think the biggest mover, and not necessarily the biggest mover back when you look at spots lost, is the 50 of Luke Peters, because Luke was all the way up there in position number 3. The 50 car has fallen all the way back to position number 15. He may lose it here as the 16 car down the back straightaway is going to try to make that move. And then behind them, here comes Nicholas Luby. So we got a great little battle here for position number 15 as we look back right there to that battle. The 50 is just trying to hold on for dear life. I think he might have used his tires up a little bit more than he wanted to early.
Yeah, for sure. And there you can see a Busch Light car. Always like to see the Busch Light cars. There's you see the number 16 of Ethan Makawa, another rookie here in this season. You see the 50 get loose again. Something amiss with the setup. There you see getting loose coming out of the corner as well. Really struggling to hold on to the back end of that race car on that number 50. So I'm going to have to see if there's going to be any kind of adjustments on pit stops, whether it's to the car, the setup, or it could even be something physical with the driver's actual setup. The steering wheel, pedals, a lot of different things can kind of come loose and mess with your driving style just a little bit, but definitely something's got to get fixed on that number 50 for sure.
Yeah, he continues to hold on for dear life and hope for either a caution or a pit stop. But if this thing does go green like it has, we're about halfway or so on what would be a fuel run and a tire run, as there's the 88 to the inside. That's Chris Miller. He was running near the front of the field, too. He must have had an issue.
Just had an issue. Actually just slammed into the outside wall and slowed him right up. I'm not sure how he got back here to the 20th position, running up towards the front earlier on tonight. But there you can see some damage on the right front of that car. A lot of these drivers starting to loosen up here on the long run. So we definitely want to make sure we keep our eyes out. Whoa, hold on to her. Drifting into turn. Same deal coming out. So big setup issues there. There you see he's going to try and hold on to it. Almost aims it right for the outside wall. Gathers it back up, and man, by the time you gather it back up, you're into turns 3 and 4. Got to do it all over again.
Yeah, he's holding on for dear life right now, sitting back here and falling back one more spot too as they continue to work by. That's Dakota Bryan, I believe, working by the 88. So still some movers and shakers, but taking a look through this field, and I'm still getting familiarized with these names, Paul, but looking up here at the 14th place spot, the 92 with Jason Anderson. I'm not sure if it's the same Jason Anderson that ran the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series back in the early days, back in the 2010, 2011. But Jason Anderson up here, name that I see that I believe that I might have seen before here on the sim, currently running in position number 14 and just kind of pacing himself right now. No pressure from behind. No pressure in front of him, trying to reel in Todd Neeson. The 26 would be the next car that he has on his list. But just kind of, I think, feeling the tires out. You don't have to be up in the top 5 right now in order to position yourself for a shot at winning. So 9 seconds in behind, still plenty of time to make the move.
For sure, we're working lap number 31 here, so 99 laps to go here at Atlanta. 99 laps on the board. Take one down, pass it around. Well, you get the picture. There you can see the number 33, Mark Koshik, running the 23rd. Not having making too much noise, moved up 5 positions there from the 28th starting position, but still looks like the car is in decent shape. Not too much damage all the way around the car. There you can see Kevin Roy in the 12, and a little bit of a side-by-side battle between Kyle Nadeau and Jason Adams, the 97 and the 24, respectively. They're having, again, not a quite loud run, kind of struggling with the setup just a little bit, and running lap times a little bit slower than the leaders back here, but still able to kind of hold on to that lead lap. But in that same battle there, you can see another rookie there, Art Mill in the 59. Check that, the 15. And there you can see Buzz in the 51. He's having a pretty solid day. There's 28th. Dave Bush in the 53. Actually going to round out the lead lap cars. That big red number 53, Dave Bush, running in the 29th position. Started up in the 19th, so these first 32 laps haven't been too kind here to Dave Bush, dropping 10 positions.
But he is still on the lead lap. 3 drivers, multiple laps down. Actually, no drivers, 1 lap down. Terry Duguay, 2 laps back. Fred Hofstetter is 4 laps down, and Robert Chineswick is still 32nd. He is 4 laps down to the field, and he continues to work around in traffic and trying to see what he can do. There is your leader on your screen. That is the 77 of Mark Whitley. And from the last time that we checked in with these guys about 10 laps or so ago, he's checked out from the rest of the field. Hunter Hayward is now 1.8, nearly 2 seconds in behind. And Hunter Hayward is closer to Stephen Stepney for position number 3 than he is to Whitley for the lead.
So the top 3 kind of evened out. You can see the gap between 2nd and 3rd there on your screen. 4th place, Michael Yarrow has about the same amount of distance back there to 4th place. And then we get back into where drivers are starting to go a little bit on the side-by-side. Braden Caress and Elaine Doyle there side-by-side for that 5th and 6th position.
Looks like we had a hand out the window, the 92 of Anderson, saying he is coming down pit road. Indeed, he is right now. The 92 is coming down, and he missed the commitment cone onto pit road, so that'll be a penalty for sure for the 92. But we're seeing a couple more on pit road there, Paul. I don't know if these guys are running 2X tire wear, but maybe if that's the case, that would put us right about where you need to be to come down pit road. The other side of the coin is these drivers have 4 sets of tires, 1 that's on the car and 3 that are in the pits. So 2 necessarily extra set of tires compared to what the fuel will allow you. So you got some tires to play around with too in this thing.
Yeah, for sure. And we've definitely seen pit road strategies differentiate here in this league. A lot of drivers like to try to do the short pittings type deal where you kind of pit, get the tires on the car as quickly as you can, and you don't have to sit there and wait for the full tank to get filled up. So we've seen many different strategies throughout this season here, the second half of the Sim Racing Unleashed season that they've been here with us on Verdane TV, and may very well just be strategy working into it. But who knows with the way racing works.
And I think if you're at the back, why not? Try to undercut those guys ahead of you. You have that extra set of tires in the pits and make this a 2-stop race, which is essentially, and I don't really want to say a 2-stop race for those guys that are already coming down pit road, because if you were doing a 2-stop race, Paul, you would almost, I think, make it a 40 and a 40 or so, or a 45 and a 45, not a 35-ish, but that might be something to watch here. If some of these drivers at the back want to do something different, a 2-stopper compared to a 1 might not necessarily win them the race, but it might bring them a little bit closer. Let's say if you're running in the 20th place, you might get a better finish out of it. We're going to have a battle for second on our hands because Hunter Hayward has his hands completely full the last couple laps, especially stepping off of corner number 2. That car is a handful. The 81 looks like it's handling a little bit better than the 21 as they come up off and forward towards the lap car.
81 full steam ahead there. Stephen Stepien doing a great job marching his way up through the field, up towards the front. And one thing to keep in mind here, we're 40 laps into this race here, and the caution comes out for the very first time. I was going to say, we're comparing lap times. We're about 2 seconds, a second and a half slower than we were when we started 40 laps ago. So that may very well be playing into a factor. There you can see the 97 pointed in the wrong direction. So he is going to be the reason we get to our very first Kong Beer Bong instant replay.
And Paul, when you pull it up, it's going to be all by himself. He had a little bit of help at the end of it, but take a look at it, Paul. It looks like he may have got a little bit free all by himself in 2.
We'll pull it up and we'll give it a little instant replay, little slow motion action here as we head into turn number 1, taking a look at the number 97 Lowe's machine. You can see running that high side, the 15 of Art Milner, down on the low, all the way down on the apron. So not going to be any contact or anything there. And you can see right up by the wall, you can almost put a piece of paper in there and hold it. And there you can see, just kind of gets stuck in the wall glue. 97 comes right across, almost right across the nose, but bounces off the side of the 15 instead. There you can see the 24 Exalta machine doing a great job slamming that car to the left side and avoiding that wreck. But the 97 just loses the car after getting into the wall just a little bit, makes some contact with that number 15, and that puts us under caution for the very first time.
And this will bring the field down onto pit road to get service. And this is almost about that window where we mentioned a couple laps ago, where if you were to make it a two-stop race, it's effectively a two-stop race now, whatever way you slice it, Paul, because we're going to complete lap number 40 right there. Go about 65 laps in the outer reaches on fuel. That's going to put you at 105 laps. It's a 130-lap race. So realistically, this is now a two-stop race. We'll see who gets the fastest crew on pit road and ends up winning this race off. But the front runners are in getting service. We'll see who gets that race off and gets that track position. Here comes Whitley.
And one of the things to keep in mind, Tim, is when these drivers do pit is going to play into a huge factor. Do you come down a couple laps early to try and get the advantage of those tires and hope for a caution later on, or what do you do at that point? There's still a lot of different strategies, even though there's going to be a 30-lap or so difference between pit stops.
I think if we get a caution in about 40 more laps or so, it kind of spices everything up, because you come down, you get 4 tires, you got one set of tires sitting there for a 40 or a 50-lap run to the end. Then you get a late race caution, get an extra set of tires sitting in the pits. Who takes them, who does, and if we get a rash of cautions at the end, that could really play into effect. So this is kind of where the dice is being rolled, as Lane Doyle stayed out on the racetrack to lead a lap. He is coming down onto pit road, so everybody is taking service by the looks of it on this caution period, and he'll hand the lead back over to Mark Whitley, and we'll see now if Whitley has an opportunity to kind of step away. Hayward led the early few laps, and then Whitley was able to take the lead about a dozen laps into this race, and once we hit a longer green flag run, he really turned it on.
Absolutely, and doing a great job. And we're going to see if we can maybe talk to the leader real quick here in the number 77. Lights are still on the pace car. Mark Whitley, is Paul Strickland up in the booth? You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Hey, man, having a great run here so far, back and forth between that 1 and 2 position. Talk to us about your race.
Yeah, I think this is going to be kind of like it was in Darlington. It's going to be whoever can get out front's got the pretty big advantage with the dirty air. I know me and Hunter are racing pretty good there, but I was just trying to run a little bit higher line, trying to get him to use his tires up, and I slowly started pulling away. I really didn't want to see that caution. I was kind of hoping we were going to go green maybe the whole race, but can't have it your way all the time. So hopefully I can get away on this restart and do the same thing again.
Now, have you got any kind of strategy as far as, really anything that you can talk to us here mid-race that you want to kind of let the cat out of the bag? Do you split this 50-50 with the remaining distance as far as that last remaining pit stop? Do you come down early? Do you try and hold on to it late? What have you got for a strategy going into it?
Really, I don't have anything in mind right now. It's going to be just a matter of wait and see, because a plan now might not turn out to be a good plan 10 laps from now. So just kind of riding by the seat of my pants, seeing whatever should be pretty good. We're going to have to just kind of play it by ear, honestly.
Roger that. Well, the lights are off, and we're lining them up 2 by 2. We're going to get you back down there, and we'll see you get back to work.
All right, appreciate it.
Mark Whitley, number 77, currently leading this race and doing a really good job. Started 4th. Has been back and forth in that 1st and 2nd position, and you heard it. He's not sure what we're doing for as far as pit strategy, but we're going to kind of play it by ear as we get closer to pit stops.
Yeah, still plenty of laps to get this thing done and strategize. And it's a great thing about these longer races. You can kind of put that in the back of your mind. And for the first run that we had, you can kind of put the thing in cruise control and get a few laps in under your belt. And the sense of urgency per se is not there. But Mark talked about the dirty air. Being up front is going to help you a little bit. Hunter Hayward was able to kind of stay within that bubble a little bit, fell back. On the longer run, Whitley was able to conserve his tires a little bit better and get that lead. But now we'll see on this second run what happens, who moves, who doesn't. We saw Stepney on the first run fall back to about 10th place and work his way back up. So we'll see who comes and goes on this restart. First one of the evening, 43 laps completed for the boys at Sim Racing Unleashed, and we are back underway.
green flag back in the air as these Sim Racing Unleashed drivers unleash the drivers heading on down into turn number 1. You can see the side-by-side battle for the race and the championship. Mark Whitley in the 77, Hunter Hayward in the 21. Both of those drivers 1 and 2 in the championship, and that they are trying to get as much out in front of the other as they possibly can, try and capitalize on the most points that they possibly can. Most of those drivers having a very solid season so far, many top 10s and wins. 5 wins between those top 2 drivers. So there you can see, you can give that lap to Hunter Hayward, but they're still side by side as they go back into 1 once again.
They continue to be side by side and battle for the lead, and they get a little close off of the corner, and what a save by Whitley. But Hayward going to get that run out of corner number 2, and Hayward, pretty easy on the outside. Whitley had to stick handle that thing to get it straight.
Yeah, some heads-up driving by both drivers as they both hold on to it, and they're still side by side at the stripe. Again, give that lap to Hunter Hayward, inches out just by a nose over Mark Whitley, but Mark Whitley still holding tough on that bottom side, and you can see he's just right on that apron. He kind of comes up just a little bit, loses a little bit of momentum as he wiggles the back end of the car. That's going to give the advantage over to Hunter Hayward, but heading into turn number 3, still side by side, door to door here, Tim. Great racing up front for the lead.
Yeah, great racing up in front, and now it's a matter of who can get out front and control this race. We saw Hayward strong early in the early run. Maybe he learned something, Paul, in the first 15 laps that he had up in front before Mark Whitley took over. Whitley knows about that dirty air, and up to the racetrack he goes, and almost once again gets into the 21. What a great battle. A lot of respect between these two. And Mark had mentioned the great race that he had early in this race with Hunter, and doing it all over again. Great race up front.
These drivers have been side by side since this green flag dropped for the restart a couple of laps ago, and you can see from these wide-angled shots, pretty much single file throughout the rest of the field, and these drivers don't really have too much to worry about out in front of them, at least for a little bit. You can see Dave Bush there in the number 53, the last car on the lead lap, about 27.5 seconds off the pace. He's about a half a straight away from going a lap down, so may come into factor with the side-by-side battle for the lead. There you can kind of see him off in the distance as these drivers cross the stripe. Again, still side by side, and again, give that lap to the 21.
Yeah, if I'm Braden Caress and the rest of the field back there, I'm saying, let's go, boys. Let's keep doing this. Look at that run. Gets into the bubble, goes up the racetrack a little bit, going to allow the 21 to take that side draft and go to the lead position. That's all he needed on that outside, and now Mark Whitley has to not only deal with the dirty air in behind the Circle B diecast number 21, but he's got to find a way to get back up there. It's now a car length. Great move by Hunter Hayward to stick with the outside, and he is going to lead lap 49.
And this is really going to show what the 77 has under the hood and under the tires in that car, because he made mention, Dirty L, there he gets a huge run right up to the back bumper, and you can see the 21 actually almost pulled over to the side to let the 77 get the position up on the high side. He's going to have a little bit of help from the number 91 behind him, but you made mention, dirty air. The 77's been out front in that clean air for the entire race so far, for the most part. There you can see a little bump to the back of the 21. Oh, he's going to try and squeak up there on the outside, but he knows he needs to get around him, try and get that clean air, and we can see these drivers definitely both like to run that middle to top line, so lots of back and forth action, and the 91's joining the party at this point. Here comes Braden Caress. He is moving that McDonald's ride right up to the back bumper of the 77. He wants a piece of the lead.
We keep going back to what Mark said with the dirty air, but we're lap 50, lap 51 in this race. We've still got 80-something laps to go. I'm not sure if Mark's being a little too over-aggressive for this point in the run, but we've mentioned earlier, if you're Braden Crush, you want these guys to get racing, and now you have an opportunity to work to the inside. That groove's a little bit wider. You're able to do a little bit of side-by-side. The 77 gets a little sideways on the outside, and Hunter Hayward's got a big smile on his face. He sees those two behind him battling for position number 2, but now another chance. Look at the run that Whitley gets in the middle of 3 and 4. He'll be able to get this run down the dog leg. Can he do anything through 1 and 2 with it?
And these drivers all running fixed setups. Everybody's got the exact same setup underneath the hood and the chassis of these cars, so it's a little bit different driving style that you're seeing with these top three and throughout the field here tonight. But there you can see the 91 backing up just a little bit. 77 still all over the back bumper of that 21. We made mention maybe the dirty air is going to slow him down just a little bit, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case. Still able to hold right on, and you can see taking another peek down low as they come around to turn number 4.
Yeah, he's dealing with a little bit of it now. We saw the side draft earlier, Paul, where the 21 was able to get that advantage to get by the 77 on the outside line as the 77 pushed up the racetrack. Now we're kind of seeing the 77 trying to work that, what we call the bubble or the side draft around these race cars, trying to make that move to the outside, trying to get there, but the 21 just barely has enough on that outside line to stop that run from the 77 to Whitley. Now Whitley's going to have to try to make a different move around. We saw with Caress a couple laps ago, going to the inside, trying to get there, but the air wasn't there and kind of stopped that momentum and kind of stopped that run that he had. It's about, I don't want to call it a 200-mile-an-hour game of chess, but virtually that's kind of what it is right now, Paul, especially early in this race. We still got 75 laps to go this time by. There's plenty of time to move, but if you can get your other peers and other drivers off their A game and kind of get them out of that mind game, you can do it right now. And here comes that 77 going to try to do what a run at a 4.
For sure, and these three drivers, 2 of them have championships. Hunter Hayward and Braden Caress, Season 6 and Season 8 champions. Mark Whitley currently leading the points and showing he is definitely a championship caliber driver here at Sim Racing Unleashed. You can see a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the corner once again. That's something a lot of these drivers seem to be struggling with. And it doesn't seem like anybody's struggling enough to where they're going to wreck the race car. But it is definitely something to keep an eye on. A lot of times when you come out of the corners that hard and you wiggle the back end, it's going to wear and tear on those tires. Oh, not quite clear. 77 trying to get up in front of Braden Caress, and he holds his position. Now we're side by side for second, side by side for the lead. It's just a fantastic battle here for the top position between these three drivers.
Oh, that got close off of turn number 2. The 91 was just barely clear. I guess the 77 was just barely clear of the 91 to take that position away and get that momentum off the corner, just enough to maintain position number 2. Should mention that these drivers do have one quick repair here this evening. So if something does go upside down in this battle for the lead, Paul, they have an opportunity to come down and get the car brand new and come back and do it all over again. But these drivers are putting on a show. They're racing like it's lap 125 instead of 58 right now. They're putting on quite the show. And looking behind them, if they continue to battle up in front, these 4th, 5th, 6th place cars, they're going to be there.
Yeah, this pack, we can call them a pack of cars at this point, I think. There you can see they're being led by rookie Luke Lafaro there in the Electricity number 20. Not sponsored by Electricity, but I really like the look of that paint scheme. Almost looks like one of the old Impact Wrestling Truck Series cars from way back when. But they got a 4-car battle going on here. The 95, there you see Michael Yarrow holding tough. Steven Stempian in the 81 dropped back to the 8th position, 7th position there after that round of pit stops. The 25 of Brandon Hartwell is up in the mix, and the 95 says it's time to go. He wants to try and take a shot at those podium drivers. So it was a little bit of a hole there, and he sure found it.
Oh, the 77 of Mark Whitley nearly bought the farm on Hunter Hayward, got to the inside of the 21, and nearly got into him. There's the 91 to the wall, and Braden Caress somehow keeps it straight. Whitley has to stick handle that race car, and now that battle that you just talked about, Paul, is now a battle for second. 20 cars sideways into Stempian. There goes the 25, and that will trigger the caution flag. Hartwell around.
Half a dozen cars involved there on the back stretch, and there you saw it. The 81 was one of them. Car crinkled up like a Budweiser can, but that's going to give us another opportunity to take a peek here at the Kong Beer Bong Instant Replay, and we're going to show you exactly what happened to bring us out under caution once again here. And you can see these drivers battling real tough here, the 20, the 25, the 81. I didn't quite see it out of the corner of my eye, but that's why we've got this glorious slow motion button here with Vidane TV. And there you can see 77 backing up to this group. The 20 gets up into the wall, and he tries to correct it, but he slides into the 81. 81 catches a quarter panel of the 25 and shoots him back up into the 20. So those drivers definitely Not looking for that kind of there. You see, holy smokes, the 72 sneaks by. The 13, I believe it was, sneaks by. 14 gets by there on the top of your screen there without any kind of damage. But, man, tough break for the 25, the 20, the 81. Gonna have an opportunity to possibly come down pit road, use that quick repair, and come back out. But is that something you want to use? We're not quite halfway at this point.
I think for those drivers that just wrecked or just had damage, I think you used a quick repair. But if you're Braden Kress, that car's damaged on the right-hand side after getting into the wall. But these drivers that are staying out, I don't mind this right now. A lot of the drivers are coming on to pit road, including Whitley and a few others that were battling up near the front of the field. But I don't mind the strategy of staying out right now, Paul, because you do have 2 more sets of tires in the pits. If these guys continue to race the way they do, you go another 20, 25 laps or so. You stay on the lead lap. You've got 1 more set of tires than these drivers do that just came down onto pit road. So I don't mind the strategy that Kress and Yarrow and Todd Neese and a few others, David Neese, do employ here. But there's not a whole lot of them that stayed out. Cedric Hunter also stayed out. Dakota Bryan stayed out. As long as these guys, Chris Miller, stay out on the racetrack, they should be okay. Robbie Darnell, if they stay out on the racetrack, I think they'll be okay, as long as they kind of stick together as a pack, Paul. I don't mind the strategy. I think this might play out if we do get a couple of cautions here.
Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier on. This pretty much splits it up. You know, some drivers are going to go try and split the race 50%, but other drivers want to try and save the tires for later on. Some of them are going to try and utilize them now. And we're just taking a look right now. It looks like timing and scoring as we cross the stripe here, updating. 10 cars staying out. There you can see the McDonald's ride. Braden Caressa in the 91 stayed out. Michael Yarrow, Todd Neese, David Neese, Cedric Hunter in the Hello Kitty number 11, Dakota Bryant, Chris Miller, Robbie Darnell, Art Milne, the rookie in the class here, and Mark Koshik, the top 10 drivers that stayed out under this caution. Now, they did come down under the last caution 23 laps ago, so this is a good opportunity for those tires. They are a little bit older, a little bit worn, but it's a good opportunity here under caution to kind of cool those tires off and maybe bring them kind of back up to speed here just a little bit. So I'm with you here, Tim. I think I dig the strategy of staying out.
25 to 30 laps, I think, is probably the sweet spot for these drivers. As long as they packed it full of fuel under that first caution flag, I think 25 to 30 laps is probably a good starting position. They go, 40, 45, 50, they're going to run out of fuel. And this strategy isn't necessarily going to be the greatest unless they go a full fuel run for those drivers who just came down onto pit road. The thing that I don't want to say scares me, because that's not the right word, but if you're Hunter Hayward, you're Mark Whitley, Stephen Stempney, and you're battling for what would be the net lead, if this all works out and you cycle back to the lead, if this thing does go 40-ish laps or so, but you want to race yourself to the front, because those drivers, as you mentioned, 22 laps or so on those tires. We got some drivers that we really haven't spoken a whole lot about this evening. They might be a little bit slower than the leaders, and if they're on older tires, they're more than likely slower than the leaders, or at least the pace that Hayward and Whitley and Stempney and those guys have been able to put up so far this evening. So we've got 2 battles to watch, per se, here. We got the battle up front between Braden Caress and Michael Yarrow and the Neese boys and Cedric Hunter. Then you've got the battle with Hunter Hayward, Mark Whitley, and those guys that kind of, I don't say carve their way through the field. They've got time to get there, and they've got a plenty wide racetrack to get there. This could be tense for a couple laps.
And how quickly do these 2 battles, how quickly before these 2 battles, I should say, kind of merge into the single one? We're going to have some drivers are going to be able to hold on out front with the older tires. They're going to be able to handle probably a couple of drivers, the 95, the 91. They're going to have a quick shot at that clean air, so they're going to be able to hold on more than likely. But we may have some drivers kind of fall back, and we may have some of the drivers that just came down pit road to get 4 fresh Goodyears on those Cup cars to try and drive their way through the field. But going to be getting the restart here on lap 65, exactly halfway. Cross flags are in the air with that green flag, and we're going to be going racing once again. Great race so far here tonight, but business is about to pick up. A couple of different race strategies, pit strategies on track right now, and there you can see a good start side by side between the 91 and the 95, 3 wide in behind them.
Keep an eye on this middle of the pack battle within the top 10, and look at that, 2 and 3 wide in behind. Great little battle there with drivers trying to pick their way through. Hayward has chosen the outside as his weapon of choice. He's got one going to the inside. That's Stempnian in the 81. Up in front, he's got one car kind of sliding through the middle there. I believe that's Milne in the 15, but Caress leads, but Yarrow is going to go to the inside, and Yarrow will lead lap number 65.
Still side by side. Looks like the position's going to go to the 95, but 91 on the outside. Caress going to try and hold on and see if he can use that momentum to get back up into the lead. There you can see the 95 tries to get up right in there, cuts that momentum right off at the neck, and you can see Cedric Hunter sliding that Hello Kitty car into the position number 3, and man, it's just a hornet's nest behind them. Todd Nees leading. There you can see the 88 to 77 has moved his way up towards the front with fresher tires. 77 of Whitley trying to get around the 88 there of Chris Miller in the 88, and holy moly, just racing all over there. You can see the 21 Hunter Hayward as well. He's trying to carve his way up through the field. He's going to shoot up on the outside, try and get up and catch the, whoa, 20 is involved. It gets down slow. There's a 44, big hit to the inside, save for barrier, single colored spin. Still green at this point, 3 wide for the lead, 3 wide. Oh man, action all over the place here, Tim.
Remember what we said earlier with this racetrack being a little bit picky when it comes to the code of bringing out yellow flags, and we saw that one right there. We remain green, and we have a new leader. It's Mark Whitley in the 77, and he was able to carve his way through the field, and Paul, he was able to pick up the right positions and the right lines as they were coming through, and Whitley able to get it, but a caution flag has flown.
Yeah, we see the Dakota Bryant machine, the number 56, a rookie here this season. That car is toast. I don't believe he's used that quick repair, but we'll be able to see as he comes down pit road. But it gives us, again, an opportunity to check out Kong Beer Bong, and we want to give them a shout-out. Thanks. They've been kind enough to jump on as an affiliate sponsor here with Vidane TV, and you can check them out at kong.2drunk.com. Cool little party favor, and they're a lot of fun. They make a lot of beer go down very quickly, and I am a big fan. But taking a look now, we're going to see there's some great racing in this pack here. The 13, 56, 25, 3 wide as they were heading into, or coming out of turn number 4, heading to the stripe. And we'll see if we can find out exactly where the initial contact was. They crossed the stripe almost dead even, and there you can see the 56 comes down just a little bit, and as he comes up, there's the 72 machine up on the high side. So a couple of drivers trying to find the same piece of real estate. There's Stephen Leffner just kind of pushing the nose in the 56 a little bit. Definitely not happy that he was kind of a victim of circumstance there. You see the 15 driving by scot-free, and the 56, the Dakota Bryant, gets that thing kind of wound up. He stopped right in the racing groove there, and there you can see, tough break for the 6 car. You saw the cars or the tires rather, locked right up, and just couldn't get that thing stopped in time, and a little bit of contact between the 6, or big contact rather, between the 6 and the 56.
So that'll bring the caution flag out, and that'll bring some of our drivers to pit road, as you can see them there, including Braden Caress in the 91. Was kind of leading that train around of the drivers that were that did stay out on that most recent yellow flag. But I still think you have to kind of stay the course. If you're Cedric Hunter, who stayed out on this racetrack, the 11 car is running in position number 3. I think Chris Miller is a part of this pack as well in the 88. You kind of, I think, have to stay the course right now, Paul. Wait another 10, 15, 20 laps, run it green. Hope there's a caution, which it looks like there might very well be. We're on the second half of this race. We're past the halfway point. But I think you have to kind of go an extra 15, 20 laps and wait for those drivers that are around you, the Whitleys, the Haywards, the Stempnians, to come on to pit road, get their tires, and have an opportunity to be on even keel with them. And if you can get some track position out of it, you might not be looking too shabby with one more set of tires sitting in the pits than everybody else.
Yeah, for sure. If we ever ended up getting a late race caution here with really anywhere with 5 to 10 laps to go, and you're able to come down pit road and slap on 4 Mr. Feelgoods and make that thing a rocket ship, that's definitely something to see here. It'll be a little bit on the tough side, though, because I'm seeing 28 cars currently, 27 cars, check that, on the lead lap here. So still a good, strong field. 30 cars still out on track of the 33 starters. Mark Whitley up front, Hunter Hayward in second place once again. There you see Hunter the Cedric Hunter in the number 11 Hello Kitty car. He's moved himself into the 3rd position. Steven Stepien, after the incident earlier on, running in the 4th position. Luke Peters running that 50 car in the 5th position. Chris Miller on a little bit older tires. Looks like 30 laps since the last time they came down pit road, but still holding his own. He's running 6th. Luke Lafaro in the 7th position. Brad Delft, Braden Hartwell, and Nicholas Luby rounding out the top 10.
And just looking at the back of this field here, Paul, you mentioned some of those drivers that are not on the racetrack. Jason Anderson, Fred Hofstetter, not currently on the racetrack. Robbie Darnell is 1 lap down. Robert Scheiswick is 4. Not the night for Terry Duguay. He sits 6 laps down. Stephen Leffler still on pit road getting damage repaired. So 27 cars still on this racetrack. As you look through some of the other drivers, there's a 57 on your screen of Zelms. Todd Neese is back there. That is 19th. David Neese in 20th. Lane Doyle, I believe, is next up in the 5. So working the way back through this field, but still plenty of laps to get it done for these drivers. Just past the halfway point. We are doubled up down the back straightaway, getting ready to come to green flag, and we'll see these drivers go at it again. But we're about to see the battle, Paul, that we saw before that cycle of, I want to call it caution flag pit stops, because there was a couple of cautions where a couple of drivers did stay out and a couple of drivers did not come down into pit road. It's all washed right now for at least the top 2, because Whitley and Hayward are going to lead this field back to green. And that don't look good.
Yeah, we saw the contact from the number 6 driving into the 56 under that last caution. Looks like the motor on that number 6 car has expired. So tough break for Robert Cheswick. I'm not sure if he's used his repair yet. We will see. It looks like he is sitting on pit road, and it doesn't look like that car's coming back out here tonight. But lined up 2 by 2. There you see it, 77 on the high side to 21 on the bottom side. Mark Whitley, Hunter Hayward, 2 drivers in the top 2 for the championship, gunning for that lead work in lap number 72. As we take this green flag and cross the stripe, 73 laps on the board, less than 60 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sim Racing Unleashed, unleashing them once again. Green flag in the air, and you can see the 77 of Mark Whitley gets a little bit of a jump on the outside line, but still side by side with the 21 of Hunter Hayward down on the bottom side, getting real close on that bottom side. You can almost hold a piece of paper between those 2 cars. But here comes the 81 of Stepien on the high side. He wants to put that Budweiser Chevrolet up in the front.
I think we saw with the previous battle that the 77 of Mark Whitley really didn't want that inside line. Took him a little bit of time to get by the 21 of Hayward, but they're going to battle it out one more time, and they almost got the fence coming off of corner number 4. Going to be Whitley leading this lap with the 21 of Hayward continuing to work that outside line. So what we saw before is status quo in behind them. Stepney trying to get up there, and Peters in the 50 is battling for position number 4 as he gets by the 20. Great battles all the way throughout, and the 50 car got a great run. We got a 4-car battle now for the lead. The accordion has come back together side by side for first and side by side for third. Give it to the 50 car. What a run that he has.
Big wiggle there out of the number 21 of Hunter Hayward. You saw him all the way down on the apron, the back end of the car, pointed almost towards the exit of pit road. And you can see it lost a little bit of momentum. Whitley able to pull away, but that side-by-side battle behind him between Peters and Stepien for that 3rd position, you may as well call that for the 2nd position. Those drivers really able to close up on the back bumper of the number 21, and you can see just really they're racing each other, but they're pulling in 2nd place. So a couple of fast race cars between the 50 and the 81.
We saw how this air can react around some of these race cars. The 50 of Peters had a really good run to get up here to position number 3, and it's almost like he kind of hit the proverbial wall a little bit when it comes to the air, and kind of backpedaled a little bit. Has taken 3rd back from the 81 of Stepney, and now behind him there is a battle between Hartwell to the inside, the 20 car of LaFaro to the outside, and behind them Brad Delp. Haven't talked a whole lot about the 14 car this evening, but now he's up here battling for what would be a top 5 position. Top 2 have kind of found their way around, and a little bit of air in between them, a little bit of space in between them, but I think the 50 car is one we have to watch here, Paul, because we saw him so strong on the first run and then kind of fell like an anchor all the way back through the field. Now he sits in position number 3. We'll see if he can hold it this time.
Started back there in the 10th position, highest running rookie so far in the field. There you can see Luke Peters on your screen in that number 50 Worth machine. Then Luke Lafaro, the next rookie in line there in P5. And We have to go all the way back to 11th position, the 88 of Chris Miller, the next rookie in line there, running in the 12th position. He's got quite a battle on his hands, a couple of cars right around him, and then a bee's nest behind him, with lots of drivers gunning for position. And it's starting to look like the tires are kind of evening out just a little bit. Chris Miller is back there with grad drivers. The 95 of Michael Yarrow, for example, pitted 8 laps ago. Dave Bush in the 53, haven't talked about him too much tonight. He pitted 16, 17 laps ago. So tires starting to kind of even out just a little bit. We might see that 88 kind of slip back. There you see in the middle 3 wide behind Bush here. But they think better of it. The 91 is going to fall on the tire tracks of the 88 and keep on trucking at this point.
As they continue to work around this Atlanta Motor Speedway, we'll have 79 laps completed this time by great little battle for about position number 5. Hartwell had the advantage on LaFaro and Brad Delph. You see it on your screen right there. The 25 had company to the back porch that last time by at a corner number 2 and down the back straightaway, Paul, but LaFaro not, I don't want to say able to do anything. I just don't think he wanted to do anything at that point. And now the 14 at Delph moves to the inside. This battle for second on back has 3 seconds on Lane Doyle and the rest of the field back there. You kind of see it off that wide shot, the rest of the field back there as they battle for, I guess that's 8th on back.
There you can see still side by side between the 95 and the 5. And there's a gaggle of cars back there about the 17th. There we go. The 17th back through about maybe 20th, 21st here. As you can see, the 88 still dropping back, so those tires are pretty much shot at this point. 40 laps on the set of tires. Oh, there's some contact a little bit there with Ethan McQuan, the 16 car. Busch Ice car all the way up in the wall. He's going to get stuck up in that wall glue trying. It's tough when you get up there, Tip, because you get up in the wall glue, you want to turn the thing off it, but you don't want to turn too hard and lose the race car. And did a great job there. Lost a bunch of positions, but was able to at least hold the car and point it in the right direction and not lose too much time. And more importantly, not wreck anybody around him. So good heads-up driving there for Ethan.
Yeah, some great battles throughout this field. These Sim Racing Unleashed boys are putting on a fantastic show here this evening. Whitley has stepped out by 1.2 seconds. The battle in behind here where you're watching around the 72 of Leffler, and I see Art Milne back there. I believe that might be the 44 of Robbie Darnell. You're seeing a lot of great racing back here. These guys are putting on a show for the 20-something place position that the drivers that are battling for second on back are doing as well. And the second on back battle is actually starting to form. Here comes Stempnian to the inside. Battle for position number 3. Crossover by Peters down the back straightaway. And in behind them, the 20 of LaFaro trying to set up the 25 of Hartwell. Great little battle for second on back, and Stempnian nearly gets the fence.
And there you can see the leaders starting to come up on some lap traffic here as well. So that's going to play a factor into this as they try and get on by there. There you can see Hunter Hayward trying to get around Terry Duguay there in the 05 machine. Duguay is going to move up back. That's Duguay in the 29th position, 12 laps down, so still trying to hold on for a decent finish there. And you can see Hayward showing a lot of patience right behind him, and he's going to shoot up on the outside lane there and try and get up around him. But the 50 and the 25, they're doing the best they can to try and stick with that 20 car as well and try and move themselves up. See just how close to the front they can get.
As the field works by the 05, Hayward and Peters and Hartwell continue to go as the 05 gets sideways on the apron. We'll keep that thing relatively straight and at least out of traffic, and almost into the wall goes the 05. But we stay green. The battle is for position number 2. Peters takes a look to the inside. In behind them, Stempnian trying to battle out LaFaro. This has been a great little battle for second on back. Whitley's pulled away from this. It's about a second and a half back to this beautiful battle here for second on back.
3 cars right underneath the hat, and you can see the 21 holding on, still side by side behind them with the 25 and the 50. Very similar to what the 21 and the 77 of Whitley and Hayward were able to do for the first half of the race at this point. But like you made mention, Whitley has checked out. He's got about a 2-second lead now over the second place battle. And there you can see the 25 is going to take a shot at that P2 position. Hayward is getting attacked now by Hartwell. Hartwell going down low, kind of peaks down there, gets up to about the rear bumper. Going to think better of it as they cross the stripe. Lap 86 in the books. Now working lap 87. They shoot down into turn number 1. And that 25 machine is going to try and take that shot once again. See if he can maybe get enough momentum to at least get up to the side of the 2021 of Hunter Hayward, but not quite there just yet.
He is working it, though. The 25, a great run here in these last couple laps to put himself in what could be position number 2. Hartwell continues to work the inside. There's Hayward's on board from the outside, kind of holding a smooth wheel on that second groove, that outer groove. He's got about 6 in behind him, and they continue to battle the 95 of Yarrow, really flexing his muscle in this battle now to the inside of LaFaro. In behind this battle for position number 2. It's kind of almost 2 by 2 by 2, Paul, but they get back to single file in behind the duo up in front, which is currently side by side. Hartwell trying to get that run on Hayward. We'll see if he can get there at a corner number 4 side by side. Outside going to be the place to be, going to get that run, and Hayward going to at least get the second place position for this lap. He'll complete lap number 88.
And that's super frustrating for Hayward as a driver because he can still see the leader of Mark Whitley. He can see the back bumper, and he feels like he can really reel him in. But here at Atlanta, when you've got 30-lap tires, 28 laps since these drivers came down pit road, really starts to affect the handling of the race car, and you need all of the racetrack that you can possibly get. And right now, he doesn't have that. The 25, Braden Hartwell doing a great job. He's holding that bottom side, holding that bottom groove right down by the apron, and even up just a few car widths, trying to get around the number 21 machine. And you can see he's using as much of the bottom side of the racetrack as he can to try and just get up beside the 21 to see if he can maybe utilize some of that air just a little bit. Right in the back bumper, you can see he's going to have a huge run coming off of turn number 2, heading into turn 3. This may very well be the move to put that 25 car in that second position.
We saw Whitley earlier to the inside of Hayward and trying to work that inside line, and it took him a couple laps. Had to get loose a couple of times and had to try the move a couple of times in order for it to make it really stick and make it happen. But Hayward continues to hold that spot up there, keeping a half eye on some of those other drivers, Cedric Hunter and a bunch of the others that stayed out on the racetrack on those last caution flags, Paul. They would have to come down pit road here sooner rather than later. So keep a half eye on them. Everybody on the racetrack still does have to make one more pit stop, though. They are not out of the woods to make it to the end if this thing goes green without having to come down into pit road to get fuel in these race cars, the 88 being another one of those drivers that was on that strategy and still out on the racetrack, hoping for a caution, Paul, but it might not come. But these drivers battling for second, they're trying their best. Oh, little contact. There's the 50 into the fence.
50 up into the fence, backs him up just a little bit, keeps it pointed in the right direction. A little bit of damage on the right side there. You can see the hood kind of crinkled up just a little bit, but he's able to hold on to it. Drops a few positions, currently running in the 8th position. And you can see he's going to try and gather it back up, see if he can get back up to the back bumper of Luke LaFaro. A couple of rookies running 7th and 8th up here, the highest 2 rookies in this field. We can take a quick peek here through timing and scoring. Looks like Dakota Bryan, after a rough go of it there, looks like he has used that quick repair on the monster number 56. That rookie's running in the 12th position. Looking on through the field, 17th and 18th, a couple more rookies. James Bryan, Dylan Zelms there in the 04 and the 57 respectively, and a few positions behind them, the 16 of Ethan Makwa and Art Milner in the 15, running 20th and 21st. Chris Miller still working those old tires, 52 laps on those 4 Goodyear tires, begging for a caution at this point, but we may see Chris in the 88 come down pit road here under green to grab some tires for that thing.
The issue that we saw with the 50 of Peters getting up into the fence, we had about a 6-car battle here for second, Paul. It's about a 3-car battle for second, then back to a 3-car battle for about position number 5, and then a 3-car battle for position number 8. But if this thing accordions back together, we could very well have a 9-car battle for position number 2. Last time by, that second place spot was held by Brandon Hartwell. Hartwell continues to work that inside, and maybe with a couple less cars on his back bumper and with only one being Michael Yarrow, kind of really deciding this battle, at least with the dirty air and a little bit of that draft being in factor. The 25 may have a better shot here. Mono on mono, getting that number 21, and as they come close off of corner number 4, it's going to be a dead heat at the stripe, and Hayward going to take that position for the time being with Yarrow right on his back bumper.
almost a triple threat drag race on that last lap there, trying to cross the stripe. The 95 Yarrow backs up just a little bit. He's going to go back to doing his homework, try and figure out which one of these drivers he's going to try and go around. He's going to try and get around both of them. Goes all the way down on the bottom side, all the way down to the apron. 25 tries to get up to the back bumper of the 21, and almost contact between those two drivers. 25 thinks better of it. Hartwell backs off the throttle just a little bit to avoid calamity, and they cross the stripe, give the second position still to Hunter Hayward. That hasn't changed, but still 3 drivers going for the second position as the leader, Mark Whitley, checks out up to a 3-second lead in that 77 machine here with just about 32 laps to go.
You know, as we've been watching this battle, Paul, I've seen the 95 a couple of times kind of throw the car down to the inside and try to make the pass, and it just doesn't work. It's almost like the quarterback throwing a pass to somebody, and he's not quite sure where it's going, but he hopes somebody catches it. I think that's kind of been the move a couple of times by this number 95. Just kind of throw the run in there and kind of hope it sticks and kind of hope you pick something up, and it really hasn't worked. Unlike this, the number 25 of Hartwell that we've seen now, there's a side-by-side battle for that third-place position. Hartwell has kind of, I don't want to say picked his spot better than the 95, but he's kind of worked a little bit harder at it over this run. And now the 95 has taken that spot on the outside. He's found something up there, but I don't think Hayward is going to allow him to get to the outside. He'll let him go to the inside, though. They'll be side-by-side for position number 2 here.
Yeah, and we can see the 95's really been trying different lines throughout the past couple of laps. Like you said, throwing that car in there and hoping it sticks. Oh, that stuck. 95 up into the 21 car. The 21 black smoke from under the hood. That motor has expired already on contact, it looks like. That is not good. No bueno there for those drivers involved. Big time damage for the 95 as well. That battle for second just came to an abrupt halt. Looks like the turn 4 wall won that one.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. And Paul, I mentioned earlier that the 95 was kind of throwing it into spots that it's just like he had the run and threw it in there. I don't think this was the 95's fault one bit.
Here we go. We're going to take a look here. We'll do the little bit of slow motion action replay, as it were. And there you can see we're actually going to switch this up a little bit. We're going to go to the chopper view. That way we can kind of see the lines. And there you see it. The 21 got loose, lost the back end of that race car, came down into the 95 and shot both of those drivers into the outside wall. So the 21, check that, just driving just a little bit too hard. And there you can see the smoke coming out of that machine and drivers getting by. Whoa, 13 gets by just by the skin of his teeth. Just able to skin on right around there. And you see Hunter Hayward was able to get it pointed in the right direction, still struggling to hold it straight. But I don't know, that was a big hit on the nose. I think that 21 motor might be done, although he may still have that quick repair. But Tim, it's a busy spot over on pit road from what it looks like.
Just a side note, the Sim gave the 95 car back position number 2 out of all of that. So the 95 car came on pit road in position number 2. I would assume that if he hasn't taken the quick repair yet, he will do it here, but he is going to lose a bunch of positions on pit road. So maybe his quick repair was already bit up early in the race. You see the 21 car. He obviously has that quick repair. He is down and away. The 95 is still sitting there. So I think the 95, he got the good break by the Sim counting him to second place or scoring him in second place, but his night may very well be done.
And that's tough. We saw the 95 making some definitely aggressive moves there for Michael Yarrow on the 95, but was showing that he had something to go. You see him, he is rolling off pit road. He is still on the lead lap and trying to take a quick little look at that car there. Well, I don't really see too much damage, so he may very well have just kind of took the quick repair and sat there on pit road for a second just to kind of catch his breath, gather his thoughts. Currently scored 27th, last car on the lead lap, but that being the key, on the lead lap, and it looks like he's got a fresh race car, Tim.
Yeah, looking at the race car before, he had a little bit of damage to the back and a little bit to the front. I'm just trying to see if that car does repair itself when it sits down in the box. And it looks like he sat there for a little bit to get that thing massaged out, but tough to tell. He actually may have got that quick repair when he did stop in the box, and it definitely he did. You can see that car instantly repair on pit road when it does. So maybe just sat there for a little bit longer, but he is at the back of the field now. He's a little bit disadvantaged on that sense. but still plenty of laps to go. I want to keep my eye, though, on the 88 and the 11. We talked about those guys, Cedric Hunter and Chris Miller, were those drivers that stayed out. They have one extra set of tires now compared to everybody else. This should be, if everybody took their 3 stops here, Paul, this should be the sets of tires that everybody else has in front of them for the rest of the show. The problem is if they do come down on a green-white checker and pit, there's probably still going to be 20 cars in the lead lap. That might not work out for them necessarily, but let's see how this plays out. I don't think we've heard the end of the 11 of Hunter and the 88 of Miller through this one.
Well, let's see if we can maybe dial up the number 11 here, the Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter. Talked to him a few weeks ago here on Verdane TV. Still has an extra set of tires on pit road. We've been paying attention to the details. Cedric, how's the race going? What do you got planned for the last 30 laps here?
It is going really, really well. The race is kind of coming into my strategy perfectly. My plan from this point on is go all out as hard as I can. So hopefully we get a caution in about 15 or so laps. That way I could put on this last set and just go all out and get a W.
Lights are off on the pace car, lining them up 2 by 2, getting ready to go back to work here for the number 11. Give us a quick shout out for your teammates so I know which room to put you back in.
Teammates would be Hunter Hayward and Steven Sippian, Dave Bush.
Excellent. So those drivers going for the W here, and definitely some solid strategy going into it with an extra set of tires. Good luck. We'll see. Hopefully we'll see you after the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the number 11, very, very confident there, Tim. Cedric Hunter and the Hello Kitty. You got to be confident to drive a hot pink Hello Kitty car. I got to tell you.
And he mentioned his teammates, Estemian and the 21 of Hayward. They've had plenty of speed all night long. So hopefully he's hoping to join his teammates at the front and lead a few laps. But your leader is the 77 Mark Whitley, Braden Caress in front. Green flag will fly. We're back underway. And keep an eye on that 77 car and see if he can step out in front of this field. Hayward not a part of the top 10 right now. Actually, he's sitting back there just shy of. He's got some traffic to get through, but we got a battle for position number 2 on our hands. The 91, a little slow on the inside, allows Stepney to get to the outside. LaFaro is there battling with Brad Delph, and they'll go side by side for third.
Yeah, you saw the 91, the only driver to actually stay out and not take tires, and he would have been a good call earlier on in the race, I think, Tim, but at this point, everybody came down. Everybody's wanting to go, and he still has 30 laps on those tires. And you can see right now, the 91 has slipped all the way back into the 12th position and still falling backward. There you can see the 11 of Cedric. He is moving his way on the outside. There, whoa, the 88's in trouble. 88's heading down towards the inside pit wall, and well, it looks like he gathers it back up. He's going to come back onto the track, almost get into the 33, but thinks better of it. Rejoin the racing surface there. So that's good news there. Back up front still, Mark Whitley. He's pulling away. 0.4 of a second is the distance back to Steven Stepien in that 81 car. And we saw that 81 car was strong earlier on in this race. Was able to really carve his way up through the field, get up to the top 10, get up to the top 5. Now he's running in the second spot. Oh, contact with the 20. Big wiggle into the wall right in front of Luke Doyle, or Lane Doyle. Check that. Luke LaFaro in the 20 car. These guys know the wick is getting burned on both ends, and it's time to go.
Yeah, in behind them, the 56 took a hard right into the wall off of corner number 2 that last time by, and it stacked the field up from about 5th on back, and everybody had to take evasive action to get around him. No harm, no foul. There's the caution flag. It's not for the 56. It's up ahead of him, as you can see the smoke. Oh, boy, that's not a good look. Roll the records for the 26.
Oof. Roll the records and get that man a cold beer. He's going to need it after that wreck. We're going to take a look at that on the Verdane TV instant replay brought to you by Kong Beer Bong once again. And man, oh man, we got a couple of drivers with some fresh tires on pit roads. We only ran 5 or 6 laps, so I don't think that's going to come into factor just yet. But maybe if we get another quick caution or 2, holy moly, the ride that the 26 took. And well, Tim, you know the rule here at Verdane TV. If somebody leaves the ground, we got to take a look at the cockpit views. So we're going to take a look at the onboard camera here for the 26 of Todd Neese, and we're going to take a look at it in slow motion. Now, I'm not quite sure where the caution was or what caused the caution, but the 26 definitely had a good seat for it as he left the racetrack, flipped, he dutied, and actually it stopped wrecking on the backstretch here, but There you can see, looks like he gets hooked. We'll take a look at it again here. But leaves the racetrack, and that's a scary situation. Ground, sky, race car, ground, sky, fence, race car, another race car, some smoke, the ground, some more smoke. There's the sky again. Hey-yo, there's another race car, the Crown Royal sign. And now finally comes to arrest the... Man, that car is toast. But we definitely do want to back this up and find out what the heck happened there. So there you see him, the 26 Publix ride, rather. And it looks like he goes into turn number 1. And there you see the 27 bounced off the wall. There's that wreck. Holy moly. Big time flips for the 26, and 27 just kind of bounced off the wall, came back down into the racing groove, and cars were there, and cars got hit. So tough break. There you see Dave Bush in the 53 involved as well. Some black smoke coming out of the back of that machine. So tough break for a lot of these guys. There's a lot of quite good race cars that are no longer quite good.
We've got time, Paul. Roll that back one more time and take a look at the 27. I think how this starts, you mentioned the 27 hit the wall, but I think he was kind of following the 13 through the dog leg. The 13 kind of gets a little bit sideways ahead of him. Maybe ride on board with the 27 car and take a look at what he's following, because he's following the 13 here, and I think the 13 kind of gets a little sideways, and he just follows him into the vents.
And there you can see the onboard with David Neese in the 27, the Suave machine right out front. That's the 13 ride. And we're going to see what Nicholas Luby there in the 13, and just kind of hits the wall, and spins up, and wrecks.
If I'm going down the freeway and I'm following the bumper in front of me, and I'm kind of looking at that car as to the guide of what's happening in traffic, if I'm the 27, I'm following the Suave logo in the back bumper. I'm following that Chevy logo, and then all of a sudden, boom, right there's the wall that comes up. He was following the 13 car. The 13 car got sideways ahead of him, and he just ran out of racing real estate.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You almost have to watch it in full speed there to see exactly what it is. You might even be able to see it from the chopper here. There you can see the 13. Yeah, exactly it. You can almost follow the same line for the 13 and the 27. And there's a big hit for the 20 or the 97 and the 72 getting involved there as well. So lots of different tales to be told from lots of different camera angles, and it's always good to have an extra set or four of eyes on the racetrack.
So that's a tough break for both of the Nieces, and they will, it looks like the 27, I believe, may have had his quick repair, and actually the 26 may have too, because they're still on the racetrack, and those cars look fairly clean, so they'll be able to battle at it once again. Cedric Hunter has moved his way up to position number 9. I think the downfall for this, though, he mentioned that get a caution 10, 15 laps or so, he's going to come on pit road and get that extra set of tires, but I think if I'm the 11 car and I'm running in the top 5, do I take the track position gamble and come down from the top 5 if we have a caution in another 8 laps or so? That's going to be the difficult call, I think.
And that's absolutely a difficult call, because you definitely may have enough race car to get up and around, up to the 2nd or 3rd position. But you see Mark Whitley has been able to go from the back to the front multiple times on very different strategies and on very different scenarios. He's had old tires. He's had fresh tires. It's one of those things where you might be able to get up to the top 3, but if you came down and you had maybe 20 lap or 15 lap fresher tires than a leader and everybody else on the racetrack, better opportunity to get up around those cars. But like you said, he's going to end up having to restart back in the 15th to 20th position. So it really comes down to timing if and when we get another caution.
I hate to say that 6 or 7 positions would mean a whole lot, but if I'm Chris Miller, who's on the same strategy, it's a no-brainer from 14th. You come down into pit road, there's only 24 cars in the lead lap, and a couple of those cars might be a little bit slower than you anyway. You're going to have fresher tires. I think if you're the 88, it's a no-brainer. I think if you're this 11 car sitting right in here with track position sitting in 9th, it might not be too bad, but look who's in front of him. Hunter Hayward, who was running up in the top 5, top 3 for most of this race, right ahead of him. As we come to green this time, Whitley is going to lead them back to green. Stepney, and on the outside, Delp, Hartwell, and Doyle, your top 5, as they work through the double dog leg, and they'll go down into corner number 1. 111 laps completed for Sim Racing Unleashed, and here comes Delp for 2nd.
Business is about to pick up. There you can see the 14 moving up on the outside line right in front of the number 81 of Steven Stepien. Brad Delf trying to hold on to that 2nd position. Lane Doyle in the 5 having a great run on the inside there in the number 5 Tide ride. Throwback shout out, if you will, to Richard Beasley. 3 wide behind him. That 21 car, he's bringing himself up towards the front. He's got Cedric with him. He's bringing some company. Oh, 81 to 14 in the wall. They almost had it saved. The 14 comes down and the racing group collects the 57. The 16 is involved as well. There's the 33. A couple of other cars here in the back. Caution comes out one more time. Cedric Hunter's sitting 5th here, Tim.
They had it saved until they didn't. And I was going to say downside of that is the 88 got a piece of it, but he did not. He did a great piece of driving to keep it off the, I think that was the 13 ahead of him coming through that wreck. But we'll take another look at this Kong Beer Bong instant replay. And Paul, they almost had it. When the 88 and the 14, or the 81 and the 14 go into the fence, they almost had it, and the 14 bounced back into traffic.
Yeah, that's always tough there. You can see that 3-wide battle between the 21, the 81, and the 14. And the 81 just kind of comes up. Well, as they go into turn number 1, they're still 3 wide. And you can see the 81 just tries to close up into that wall. And unfortunately, the 14 was there. So a couple of cars going for the same piece of real estate. That's just a racing deal at that point. 14 almost had it saved, got it straightened out. But then you see the 57 gets involved. The 16, he tries to get slowed up, but doesn't get that thing. He kind of bounces it off the wall, and the 33 might have missed the brake pedal. He looked like he was still going full speed there in that 33 right into that wreck, but I do want to back that up because you made mention, and we saw it briefly, the 88 getting by scot-free. So going to have to take a look at the cockpit here of the 88. We'll give it to you full speed. There you see the wreck up top. That is big time pucker factory. You see slams on the brake, doesn't even touch the back bumper of that 13 Suave. So a very suave move there for the 88 of Miller.
Yeah, depending on what had happened there with the prediction code, he may have got a little bit of damage. I'm seeing a little bit of hood pop on that number 88, but that might have been from a previous incident. But look what he's doing on pit road. 4 tires for the 88 car. He'll come off of pit road, and he was running around the 10th place just outside, 12th, 13th or so. So if he can get back there in the next, it's going to be 14 laps, 13 laps, whatever the case may be, whatever we get green, I think this is a win for him, and I think he's going to get back there, at least at this point. The question is now, and Cedric Hunter in the 11, did he come down pit road too, Paul? He came down pit road. He surrendered the track position.
He did. He surrendered that 5th place. He's going to be restarting 15th, right in front of Chris Miller in the 16th position. That's going to be fun to watch. 15 laps on fresh tires. Everybody's got about 15 laps on their tires. And just taking a look at pit road, the 33 of Mark Koshik is involved in that. The 27, he's on pit road. Dakota Bryant, Lucas Luby, Steven Stepping, you can actually see him in there. In the 81 pit stall, still getting some repairs done to that. Dylan Zelms, Brad Zelf, and Ethan Macwa still on pit road. Looks like Dave Bush and Terry Duguay. Terry Duguay off pit road. He's back 10 laps down, it looks like. Dave Bush 9 laps down, but 22 cars still on the lead lap. We've seen anything can happen here of an ATV. Anything can happen here in Sim Racing Unleashed. So there's still 22 drivers that can potentially win this race here, Tim.
If I'm Cedric Hunter, I need to hope that this race goes green for, I don't want to say 10 laps, but ish, and then maybe get a caution, get yourself up front. 15 laps is a lot on these tires, Paul. We've seen it before at Atlanta. This place is almost like a cheese grater where it eats tires, the older surface to this place. But if I'm Cedric Hunter, I was running 4th. I don't know if I would have really thrown that away. We've looked like dummies up here before, though, so that's I guess we'll see this all play out.
Well, how many times have we said it, Tim? You and I both. That's why we're up here and they're down there in the driver's seat. So we'll reset it real quick. Mark Whitley, status quo up front. That 77 has been on fire, on rails all night long, currently leading the race. Lane Doyle having a phenomenal run here at Atlanta. He's in the outside. He's got that number 5 machine in the 2nd position. Hunter Hayward, he's running 3rd. Great car, fast car. Battled with the 77 for the first half of the race here. Luke LaFaro, Brandon Hartwell up in the top 5. Luke Peters, James Bryan, Braden Caress. Braden Caress, he was down pit road 7 laps ago, so he's got a little bit fresher tires than some of these cats up front. Jason Adams, he's running in the 9th position. Robbie Darnell, the 44 car, saw him get wrecked earlier on. He's made his way all the way back up to the 10th position. Todd Neese, Michael Yarrow, Art Milne, Buzz in the 51 car. Cedric Hunter and Chris Miller back here in 15th and 16th. Those guys have brand new tires at this point. And everybody in behind them coming down pit road, getting some damage fixed, trying to kind of limp around to the rest of the field. Dylan Zelms, David Neese, Steven Stepien, Mark Koshnik, Nicholas Luby, and Dakota Bryan rounding out the lead lap cars. This is going to be good, Tim. Less than 15 to go. Looks like we're going to have 12 laps when we get that green flag. This is going to be big.
I think if I'm Hunter Hayward, I like the way this race is playing out up in front. Really good on the shorter run. If I can get Whitley, I don't want to say off his game, but maybe just a little bit off, I think this might be an opportunity for Hunter Hayward to come back and end up winning this thing. But they're going to have to beat Mark Whitley. Whitley has been lights out for most of this first 117 laps of this event as the pace car will head off onto pit road. Whitley in command of the field. Lane Doyle to the outside. Keep an eye on that 21. Green flag flies. We are back underway with 13 laps remaining.
Nice wide shot showing you 2x2 all the way through. Do not count out that 11 car, Tim. You've got me sold on Cedric Hunter. I believe he's got the idea, and I think he's got the tires to make it. There you can see he's got that hot pink car about mid-pack at this point. He's got a lot of work to do here with 12 laps to go here at Atlanta. Caution flag is definitely going to come out after that. That is a big hit on the backstretch. Green flag.
We're still green, but the 11 is lucky he didn't get hooked by the 51. Buzz put it in the fence, came down the racetrack, and he was off the racetrack, so no caution, but keep a half-eye footnote on that battle. Chris Miller is currently ahead of Cedric Hunter in the 11. Mark Whitley currently leads, but the battle for position number 2 rages on as the 21 of Hayward gets sideways. Lane Doyle now tries to chase down your leader, Mark Whitley.
And there you can see right in the back bumper, right in the tire tracks, a little bit loose for the 5, but he holds on to it. The loose is fast here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as long as he can hold on to it, and Lane can hold on to it. Going to shoot all the way down to the low side in the double dog leg. As you made mention, he has a fast race car. He is there. He is at the back bumper. He's going to shoot down low, try and peak down low, all the way down to that white line, all the way down to the apron. He's going to muscle that car down in there. You see him just kind of wobbling back and forth, trying to get any kind of advantage that he possibly can. Can't quite get there to the 77. He can get up to the back bumper. That's about it. He kind of stalls out at that point.
Was able to drive it up the racetrack in behind. The battle in behind them is fierce. Hunter Hayward, we got Brandon Hartwell, Braden Caress, and Luke LaFaro. 4-car battle for position number 3 on back. We've seen Hartwell be really good on that inside, battling with the 21. Caress up the racetrack, blocks the 20. 20 goes down low. Caution is on the speedway. Got a wrecking behind them, and it looks like the 50 of Peters.
50 of Peters, big time damage in the outside wall there. That's going to reset these drivers with less than 10 laps to go. So we're going to take another look here at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay to find out exactly what the party foul was there. It was not the first time we've seen the 50 in the outside wall, but we'll take a look at it, and it actually looks like it's right in front of the 11 and the 88, both of those drivers on fresher tires. So we'll take a look at what went down. We'll do the slow motion dealy deal. And there you can see the 50 kind of running up on the high side. There you see the 11 and the 88 coming down. They're going to try and split the 04 car there. But there wasn't really enough room to do that. So we're going to have to back that up. And there you can see the 11 gets into the back of the 50. 50 kind of lost the back end just a little bit. He probably would have been able to correct it, but the 11 had such a run on those fresher tires that he got right into the back of the 50, sent him on around, and there you can see the 44 after a good recovery. He's involved in that, so that's a tough break for Robbie Darnell there in the 44 machine, and some of the drivers in the back still missing that brake pedal, just kind of driving on through there. You know, it's always good to have high confidence in where you're going. There you can see the 56 driving by with some big-time damage on that car after taking a reset a few cautions ago. But, man, tough break for the 50 and the other drivers involved here.
Yeah, and the closing rate, we saw with those tires, even 15 laps is going to do a lot, but the closing rate with the 11 of Hunter and the 88 of Miller is huge. Now the question is, Hunter's got damage to that race car, albeit it's slight damage. But with this package, with the dirty air, it's probably significant enough that it could factor into him potentially winning the race. There's a lot of damage on that right rear corner of that number 11 car, so the downforce is going to be thrown off just a little bit. I think it's going to be enough that it maybe prevents him from winning this event. But if he can get back to that 4th, 5th place position where he was running, Paul, I think it's got to be mission accomplished. But considering where he was up in the top 5, even though, yeah, you did have that other set of tires sitting in the pits, we can play it back so many times up here, but he wouldn't have been stuck in the middle of that. I don't want to say mess, but that's pretty much what it was. Him trying to dodge those slower cars. But we'll see how this all plays out at the end. We're going to come down to probably 5 laps to go on this restart.
And at this point, it's still anybody's ball game, anybody's race. Mark Whitley absolutely holding on to the top spot there, Lane in the 5. He's up front. Hunter Hayward still in that 3rd position. Braden Hartwell, the 91. Braden Caress, Luke Alfaro, the rookie. Cedric Hunter on fresh tires in 7th. James Bryan, Chris Miller, he's got the fresh tires in 9th. And Michael Yarrow in the 95. We saw him quick, making some pretty evasive moves earlier on. I'd say make a pick here, Tim, but I wouldn't even know where to start.
It's going to be hard to beat the 77 of Mark Whitley. He's had the race car all night long, but the one thing that I did see on that restart was Lane Doyle was able to keep with him. Was able to go to the inside, but we've also seen a couple of times tonight where that inside line can kind of be the downfall, where you kind of chase that car up the racetrack, and we saw it with Lane. Chase that car up the racetrack, and if Whitley was there, it probably would have spelt trouble for those two, but Whitley able to get that run just enough to get past the 5 when he came up the racetrack. Hunter Hayward has been so good tonight. Brandon Hartwell has been decent tonight, and especially on that inside line. He's been the only one that's really been able to keep that inside line and hasn't, I don't want to say dipped a wheel, but that's about what it is. He's been smooth down there. And then you got Cedric Hunter with that little bit of damage. Chris Miller in the 88 on fresh tires, sitting 7th and 9th respectively. I don't think you can pick a winner. I think if there's Vegas odds, I think Mark Whitley is probably the favorite per se, but it's not over.
No, absolutely. And I mean, if I was a betting man, my money would have to be on that number 11 of Cedric Hunter. We talked to him earlier on a couple of cautions ago, and very, very confident, very confidence-driven in that number 11 Hello Kitty car. Made the joke earlier, you kind of have to be confident when you're running a hot pink Hello Kitty car, but making it work for him and making that car do exactly what he needs. He's got quicker tires, he's got newer tires, and he's got a little bit of damage in the back end of that race car, kind of involved in that last wreck per se, but I don't know. That confidence is pretty high. He may not have enough to get around the 77, but I think we might be talking to that number 11 car on the podium here in the post-race show.
We'll see how this all shakes out. There's going to be 5 laps to go when we come back to green, and that's contingent on them being able to get 5 green flag laps, because the competition has been so close that it's precipitated a couple of yellow flags, and that's not necessarily a bad thing when everybody wants to get to the front and take away the win, unless you're Mark Whitley. Whitley wants his 5 laps done and be able to get a little bit of clean air on that 77. Pace car is in. Field in command of Mark Whitley. They come down with 5 laps to go here at Atlanta. Green flag is out. Look at the start that the 21 gets in behind a Hunter Hayward, pushing that number 77 in behind him. Caress is there. Oh boy, it's going to get tight down into 1.
Drivers pushing drivers, pushing drivers. You can see those top 5 are almost hooked up. Bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper. And there you can see the 11 trying to get everything that he absolutely can. He moves up on the outside line, swerving back and forth. These drivers trying to find which line's going to work best for them. It's almost like we've got a couple of Tango drivers up front, and then they kind of split back up. Mark Whitley's going to hold on to the advantage. He's going to try and draft with both of these lanes, almost like a super speedway race here, Tim, trying to pull each line ahead just a little bit and give these guys almost a sense of false hope. But you can see Lane Doyle not having anything of it. He's going to get up to the back bumper of the 77. He's going to dip down low all the way down to that apron, kind of drift up just a little bit, fall right back into the tire tracks off the 77, but he knows that he is the one in position to try and get it done. The 25 now going to take a shot at the 5 going into turn number 3 all the way down to his door. They make just the slightest bit of contact. 25 has a little bit of the advantage, has a little bit more of a run than the 5, but the 5 on the outside as they cross the stripe, he's going to pull out just ahead, and that's exactly what Mark Whitley wants to see. He wants to look in his mirror and see these guys side by side battling for that second spot so he can ride off into the sunset and try and take home the victory here for the Sim Racing Unleashed at Atlanta race.
Here comes Tires, the 88 of Miller to the inside. This is a battle for position number 4. The 21 of Hayward to the outside. Miller is going to get a podium run into this if he can continue on, but it's going to be Whitley driving away with this one. Battle for second is far from over. 25 of Hartwell to the inside of the 5 of Doyle, and the tires are here, Paul. Lap and a half to go, and Miller's trying to find a way around.
The the tires and the confidence, they're both going to try and play a factor into this race. Caution flag comes out on the speedway. Tim, this changes everything.
And it's Dakota Bryan in the 56 car. Took a hard hit earlier in this race, but he gets crossed up with the 13 car going through the tri-oval to bring out the caution flag. And Paul, I don't think this was take a look at it.
Well, we'll take a look at it in slow motion. We saw the 56 pointed in the wrong direction there on the live shot. You can see it was able to take that quick repair there, but you can see the 56 kind of moving on up the track. 13 kind of closing in up behind closing the gap, as it were. And we'll see if we're actually going to take a look at the chopper view. That way we can see the lines of both of these drivers. And 56 kind of wobbles just a little bit in the dog leg. And I kind of see where you're coming from there. Because the 56 kind of moved up. Didn't really move up. Just didn't really move down out of the way too much. So not really sure what the deal was there, but definitely big damage. The 56 worse for wear in that Monster Energy number 56. So that's, either way you look at it, that's definitely a tough break. But maybe some animosity a little bit there. It could also be that maybe, possibility that the driver, or the spotter rather, didn't clear. We'll take a look at the in-car and just see how it is. You can see that he does keep that wheel kind of turned to the left the whole time until he has to turn it to the right after he's wrecking here. But I don't know. It's hard to call. Could very well just be guys hard racing.
And that means we will go to one and one only green-white checker finish to determine the winner of this. And Mark Whitley was so close. They were about a half lap away. They were battling for second on back. That was it. That was going to be the end of the race, and the battle was going to be for second. But now we've got a restart with 2 or less laps to go, unless they can't get back to the white. I think this plays out into Chris Miller's favor, because if this restart goes a little haywire, Chris Miller could very well pick up the win on those fresh tires. But this thing is far from over. Hayward had a handful on that restart, Paul. He was starting in position number 3, was able to get up into line for a moment, but got shuffled back to position number 5 for a driver that ran, I don't want to say second fiddle all night long to Mark Whitley, but for most of the night, led some laps early. He's, I'm sure, going to be determined on this final restart.
Absolutely, and you still have Lane Doyle up there in the number 5, and you've got Hunter Hayward. There you see him on your screen right now. Braden Caress in the 91. He's been fast all night long. He's up there in the 6th position. Luke LaFaro, he's been pretty quick. The number 20, the rookie, the best, or the second best running rookie so far. First one being Chris Miller in the 88 with fresher tires. Michael Yarrow in the 95. Don't count him out. He's made some pretty erratic moves earlier on. He was up in the top 3 pretty early on in this race. James Bryan there in the 04. Haven't talked about him too much all throughout the night. He's got a good solid top 10 going on. Another rookie up front. So there's 3 rookies in the top 10 right now. Definitely what everybody wants to see. Todd Neese, the 26. He's moved himself up to 10th. That's a good solid recovery for him so far. Cedric Hunter on those fresher tires, but involved in a little bit of mayhem. He's running 11th, matching his car number. David Neese in the 27, running 12th. AC the 24, Jason Adams, Steven Stepien in the 81, rounding out the top 14. Art Mill in the 15, and Dylan Zelms right behind him. And looks like we got the Brad Zelf machine, Nicholas Luby, and the 50 of Luke Peters is on pit road, so he's going to be the first car 1 lap down as the pace car comes back around. So that's going to give us 18 cars on the lead lap here, Tim. And we've seen some crazy, crazy restarts here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, both in real life and in the sim racing world. And man, the better iRacing does on these tracks with dynamic tracks and tire models and crash damage models, it's almost tough to differentiate the two. So some of these finishes, not anything to shake a stick at.
And this is going to be it. One and done. You only got one attempt at the green-white checker finish. So usually on these restarts, you got to get what you can. But this even more so. You got to get what you can on this one lap and hope you get back to the white flag to have one more lap to battle for. Because if the caution flag comes out between the green flag at the start-finish line this time and the white flag the next time by, the race is over. So we'll see what happens here. Mark Whitley controls this one. I think it's Mark Whitley's race to lose, but now you got Hartwell on the back bumper, and oh, by the way, Miller, row number 2 on the outside, fresh tires compared to everybody else by about 15 laps or so. If he hasn't used all the good that's left, he may have something here for a podium finish, Paul.
Absolutely, and we're going to get the green flag, the white flag, and the checkered flag, and you alluded to it already, Tim. One of those, one shot at the green, white, checkered. And the next flag going to end the race, and there we go. You see the iRacing Mustang pace car dipping on down to pit road for the very last time. Mark Whitley gets the jump that he needs from the inside of the 77. He's going to pull away from the car, the second place position, just by the hair on his chinny chin, but they're double file for that second position. The 25, Brandon Hartwell moving up, getting a little bit better position on the number 5. And there's the 21. The 21 right on the back bumper of the 25. Whoa, a little bit of skating action back and forth. And that's that Daytona Talladega racing that we've seen. Trying to block both lines. Gets a little bit distracted. Gets into the back bumper. Oh, the 21 is wrecked. He gets into the 5, it looks like. And caution flag is going to fly. That means the race is over. Give the win over to the number 77 of Mark Whitley. A fantastic drive all race long. And with that being the final caution of the night, that's going to give the win to the 77, but definitely going to have to take a look at that wreck one more time.
Tough way to end it for a lot of those drivers that ran up front. Miller, the 21 of Hayward, among them Brandon Hartwell, but they're going to come by this time and collect the checkered flag, and Mark Whitley is going to go to victory lane. Looks like Lane Doyle and the 20 of Luke LaFaro is going to take position number 3 out of all this, and give a call out to James Bryan in position number 4. He came from absolutely nowhere. He was running near the back of the pack when this thing all started. As you take a look at the replay, the 77 is going to come across the stripe. The 77 of Mark Whitley wins at Atlanta, and Paul, what happened behind him to trigger the final yellow?
Well, you can see the 77 did a great job trying to block both lines, and it kind of knocked the 25 off of what he was doing. He checked up just a little bit. Hayward in the 21 gets right in the back of him, and unfortunately takes out the 91, the 88, the 95. Looks like he gets by scot-free. There's another big hit between the 25 and the 21, and a couple of other drivers involved. There you see the 13 getting into the 15 after the incident there, but definitely a tough break, and they come across the stripe here, but a great win for the 77 of Mark Whitley, doing exactly what he needed to do to hold on to the points lead here, and he came in with, I believe, a 13-point lead, and we can see Hunter Hayward finishes back in 7th, so that's all but going to pad that lead going into Pocono next week. And that's what you need to do. You need to finish in front of the guys that you're battling in points for, and that's exactly what the 77 did here this evening. We'll take a look at the official results. There you see it on your screen. Mark Whitley in the 77 comes home victorious. Lane Doyle, a good solid run in that 5-tied ride, finishes 2nd. Luke LaFaro up into the podium position there in the 3rd spot. James Bryan. Cedric Hunter comes home 5th after having some pardon me, after having a little bit of damage after getting those fresh tires laid on there. As you can see, the 77 starting to burn him down. Michael Yarrow moves himself into the 6th position. Hunter Hayward finishes 7th after running up in the top 3 most of the evening. Todd Neese 8th, David Neese 9th, Jason Adams rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, looking unofficially from 11th on back, Stephen Stepney and Dylan Zelms, Brad Delf, Nicholas Luby, Art Milne, Chris Miller, Braden Caress. Now, looking at this, Paul, this might change a little bit because Caress technically came across the line. I think he was supposed to be scored in position number 5, but I think we had one race car that may have came up a little bit before the checkered flag came out and may have screwed the lineup up a little bit here by the looks of the replay. So I think Caress is going to probably move up later on. So keep in mind, this is unofficial. Mark Koshik, Robbie Darnell, Brandon Hartwell, tough break in the 25, unofficially in position number 20. 21 on back is Buzz, Luke Peters, Dakota Bryan, Terry Duguay, and these are the drivers that have either retired or had a really tough night. Dave Bush, Ethan McCaw, Kyle Nadeau, Stephen Leffler, Kevin Roy, Robert Scheiswick is 30th, and completing your field is Jason Anderson, Fred Hofsteffer, and Aaron Bradford, your field. So that's race number whatever this is for the Sim Racing Unleashed boys, and it's near the end of the season. You knew the gloves had to come off at some point, right, Paul?
Oh, absolutely, and it's definitely time for the gloves to come off, and the gloves definitely came off indeed. Going to try and catch up with tonight's race winner, Mark Whitley, in the number 77. Mark, fantastic drive all night long, back and forth with the 21 earlier on in the first half, and just completely dominated the second half. Man, talk us through your race.
Yeah, didn't get a great qualifying run. Still qualified top five, but I was hoping to get up there on the front row. Kind of cut through there. Was racing Hunter like it was kind of like it was back at Darlington. I feel like I had the better car, even with the dirty air. I got around on that first run. It was battling back and forth. I eventually pulled away, and then got into the middle part of the race, and cautions kept coming out. And I was normally I'm one that likes short runs, but for this I had it dialed in on the long run. And I was just wanting it to go green, and especially we started getting all those cautions toward the end. I was getting real nervous because I knew I pitted and kind of early with my last set of tires, and I was just hoping and praying whoever had fresh tires couldn't get up there in time. And it got a little dicey there on that green white checkered, but we pulled it out in the end. And I hate to see anything bad happen to anybody, but we needed to kind of race like this to help the point situation. Hunter finished in seventh, so that helps us out a little bit.
Absolutely, you took the words right out of my mouth. You now have 3 wins on the season, tying you with Hunter Hayward with 3 wins. He came in with about 11 points, I think, was the gap between first and second. Don't believe Joseph McWhorter made the race here this evening, and with finishing 7 spots ahead, definitely adds a little bit of a cushion to that championship battle. And we head into Pocono next week. Kind of, sort of a similar track, but completely different. as awful as that sounds, now that I listen to it again. But have you got anything going on for Pocono? Have we worked on a strategy for that track yet?
Honestly, Pocono's been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde track for me. Like some races I'll do good, run up front all day. Other races I've run in officials where I didn't even make it to turn 1 and I was about 100 feet in the air with some kind of glitch because I got ran into. So I enjoy the track. It's not one of my it's not a favorite of mine, but it's not too bad. So I'm just hoping to go in there and not finish toward the back, just try to run up front, and I'll try to be up there at the end when it matters. Try to get another win, go for 3 in a row.
And that's exactly what it's all about. And we can see we got G-Force RTX on the quarter panel of this race car, and this is now the 3rd win on the season here for Sim Racing Unleashed. You're leading the points, but you definitely don't do it alone. Who have you got to thank here? Sponsors, partners, teammates, family, friends, anybody that helps you make it happen? Who gets you to and from the track here in the 77?
Well, I got to start off with my family. They're tuning in pretty much every week whenever I have a race, whether it be here or another league. They're always watching, so I got to appreciate them for the support, including my wonderful fiance. She's not a huge race fan, but, whenever I come out there, she's always asking how I do, so can't ask for much more than that. And then I don't have any legit sponsors, just people I normally like to represent like I do in real life. So, if anybody out there wants to throw a sponsorship my way, I'll definitely throw one on the car, but other than that, I got to thank my teammates. Joseph, he wasn't here tonight. Chris Miller, he had a pretty good finish there. I don't know if he got caught up in the end wreck, but pretty good all around. And then also got to thank you all for putting on a great broadcast. Can't wait to go back and watch this one. This should be fun.
Now you made mention of our favorite words here in Vidane TV, in real life. Have we got a real life sponsor or a real life race car for the Mark Whitley bunch?
No, I used to race dirt go-karts, but that was a number of years ago. My dad used to race, but unfortunately, no. If I ever win the lottery, I'll try to get together a real race car, but that's probably about the only way I'll get one.
You and me both. But nonetheless, great run here tonight. 3rd win on the season in dominating fashion here in Atlanta. Fantastic run. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
And we're going to kick it down to Tim Terry a little bit further down pit road, catching up with Lane there, finishing 2nd tonight.
Well, it was a great save at the end of that green-white checker, Lane. How much did you feel the 25 sliding into the inside of you?
Well, I didn't see the slide because it happened around my blind spot, but I definitely felt it because all of a sudden I was almost dead sideways and had a lot of damage that wasn't there before. I'm just surprised the car kept straight.
A bunch of late race restarts with this package, with aero being so tough to try to work your way around. How tense were these restarts inside the race car?
Out of the 3 restarts we had at the end there, the first one I think was my best shot. Hunter got loose. He was about 5/10 back, wasn't a factor at that point, so just me and Mark. I sent it a couple times, almost crashed both of us at one point. That second restart, Brandon got to my inside, and Mark was going to walk into the sunset with it. Me and him weren't going to challenge Mark. And the caution came out, and something tells me Mark wasn't too happy about that. And on that final restart, if he would have stayed low and blocked Brandon, I think I could have had a shot on his outside, because that outside was dominant on these restarts. But I did all I could.
Great effort to a second place run. Paul tells me next week is Pocono. What do you think this package is going to do there? Obviously, with the brand new build, it's kind of changed a little bit, kind of widened the groove, at least here in Atlanta. What are you expecting next week?
I'm hoping Pocono's changed because I didn't like the old Pocono. I thought once you went single file, it was impossible to pass unless you sent it in and risked wrecking both of you. But hopefully with this new package and new rework to all these tracks, new grooves, like you said, have opened up, so I'm hoping we can get some good side-by-side action next week.
Who do you got in this race car? Who are the teammates that help you get to the virtual racetrack and get to a second-place finish?
Well, we got 22Q Racing, who I've been a part of this team this season with Steven, Josh, and Jason, and they've been great teammates. They're all fun to just sit here and race with, especially Steven. He's always just a great list. He's just great to listen to. He's hilarious. And I want to thank everyone who watches at home because, it's great knowing that there are people who sit here and watch this.
And you put on a great effort here this evening. Lane Doyle, congratulations, second place finish.
Thank you.
There you go, Paul. That's your top two. Luke Lafaro, I believe, is still down there with the Georgia media. I believe that's John Adams down there. If you look real close, talking to our third place finisher, so he hasn't been able to come up here yet. But a great finish at the end of that one, and hats off to these Sim Racing Unleashed boys because they put on one heck of a show.
Yeah, most definitely. A great race last week at Darlington. Only a couple of cautions, and the same deal here tonight with Atlanta. Just a phenomenal show. Very, very good racing all the way throughout. Lots of pit strategy that worked in a couple of different ways, but it ended up being the fastest car of the night. Was able to come out on top. A great win there for the number 77 camp of Mark Whitley, and we said it a couple of times here throughout the race and in the post-race show. Off to Pocono next week, the Tricky Triangle. I don't even believe we've called a race here on Vidana TV here at Pocono Raceway. So that's going to be a lot of fun here next Sunday night, and that's actually going to be in the very new, brand new Vidana TV studios that we're going to be moving into throughout this week. So I'm excited for that, and very excited for the things that are coming up here. I know we got Tim's Corner Live coming up here tomorrow night. You want to give us a little bit of insight who we got for guests here tomorrow night, Tim?
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting show. We actually had to change some guests around. Randy Miller will actually be on the show next week. We've got Drew McEachran coming on. The East Coast Mini Stock Tour schedule is coming out tomorrow night on Tim's Corner Live, so that's exciting. Megan Parada is going to be here, the 2019 most popular driver, and Riley Goodwin is going to stop by as well. We've actually got a Tim's Corner Live on Thursday as well, previewing the Easter Bunny Bash Winter Demolition. Wednesday night, we're going to go back and do a little bit of sim racing, as we will Monday night as well. The Trans Service Cup Series is back here on Vidane TV, and I think the Fatheads Cup Series is back on Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe both of those leagues are running Atlanta here too, so almost a little bit of a preview here tonight for both Sim 500 and the Fatheads Cup Series, and I'm actually very excited that yesterday my Fatheads glasses came in the mail. Yesterday? 2 days ago? They actually fit. I'm so excited. I got a great big Swedish head and a first pair of sunglasses that actually fit, and they're the transparent frame, so I'm not going to have that raccoon sunburn line anymore. So very cool to have the Fatheads Pro Series, or the Fathead Cup Series rather, hook up the boys in the booth here with that. The 40% off using the promo code Showtime, and absolutely worth the pennies. And we got no Tim's Corner Motorsports Weekly this week, but we've got championship implications next week, I believe. Is that right? Am I looking at that? Are we looking at a championship next Wednesday night?
No, we got 2 to go in that series. We got next week is the championship penultimate round, and then we head the next week with the 200 lapper.
That's the 21st. I looked at the calendar wrong. Still lots of action coming up here on Vidane TV, but that's going to put a cap in the action here for us tonight. Thank you guys so much on social media, Facebook and YouTube, chiming in here tonight, tuning in, watching this thing called iRacing, and we're glad to have you. Swing on over to Vidane.shop, get yourself a TV, a T-shirt, a sweatshirt, anything that makes it happen. So pretty cool to have these guys on board, and we're glad that Sim Racing Unleashed has paired up with Verdane TV, but for everybody here at Verdane TV, Sim Racing Unleashed, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. Alongside me, the legendary Tim Terry, the voice of iRacing, the voice of Sim Racing. Thank you guys so much tonight. We'll catch you on the flip side when we do. We're going to be doing it live. Have yourselves a fantastic night.